I'm 34 years old and my wife is 32. Together we have a daughter who is almost 3 years old. When our daughter turned 1, I began to notice that my wife and I had hardly shared any physical intimacy for nearly a year. I approached her and asked if she was ready to reconnect physically, considering that she often felt touched out after a year of caring for our baby. To help create space for us as a couple, I arranged for a babysitter to come 2 days a week, one evening for a date night and another day for my wife to have some time to herself. Despite these efforts, when I tried to cuddle with her, she turned me down. She explained that she didn't want that kind of connection and suggested I should find other ways to meet my physical needs. In response, I started looking for ways to cope on my own, purchasing adult toys for personal pleasure. Understanding her reluctance to engage physically, I didn't cheat on her, as I simply didn't have the energy for that. My routine now includes kissing her if she wants one and giving her hugs, but we don't cuddle anymore. After putting our daughter to bed, I usually take a shower and then go to bed myself. While we continue with our date nights as planned, 2 weeks ago my wife made another attempt at intimacy. When I told her I preferred to shower alone, she tried to join me. Feeling overwhelmed, I left and showered in the guest room, locking the door to have some space. When I told her I needed time for myself, she accepted it. Last week, I thought she might try again, so I bought her some toys in the hopes that she might find pleasure in them. She didn't want them, instead expressing that she wanted me. I told her I do find her attractive, but after nearly 4 years without that connection, I had learned to manage without her touch. When she asked why I didn't want her, I explained that I needed time to rediscover that desire. I reassured her that I wasn't punishing her. I just didn't have the energy for that kind of intimacy right now. I suggested that she use the toys I had bought her for the time being and that we could work on our connection over the next few weeks or months. I know some people might suggest that I should take on more childcare duties, given that she is a stay-at-home mom. However, I've already done my part. For example, I cared for our baby on my own for nearly a month when my wife was hospitalized with COVID shortly after our daughter was born. I continued looking after her during her subsequent illness as well. I also make it a point to take care of our daughter at night when I get home from work. When I discussed this with friends, one mentioned that I wasn't wrong to feel the way I do because I had learned to live without my wife's touch after years of rejection. Another friend suggested that I should just engage in intimacy with her and focus on something else during that time. Overall, I'm trying to figure out whether I'm in the wrong for approaching our physical connection in this way, especially given the long gap we've had in intimacy. I acknowledge that it has been almost 4 years since we've shared physical affection beyond the occasional kiss and hug. I understand the strain this has placed on our relationship. The narrative touches on the complexities of relationships, especially themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the emotional challenges of navigating love and marriage. In one part, the speaker reflects on their past experiences with love, underscoring that despite the difficulties faced during a partner's long battle with cancer, the bond formed through those struggles became incredibly strong. The speaker shares that their husband passed away in 2019 after a 7-year fight against cancer, noting his lighthearted approach to his illness. He once quipped that if he were going down, he would take the cancer with him, showcasing a sense of resilience and determination. The speaker doesn't regret the tough times they endured, asserting that those struggles forged an unbreakable connection, likening their bond to steel. They encourage others to put effort into their relationships, emphasizing that commitment and mutual effort are vital for overcoming challenges together. In a contrasting update, another individual shares a distressing story about their marriage. After a heated discussion with his wife, they began to talk about the future of their relationship, which led to further arguments. The speaker presented 3 options: an open marriage, divorce, or waiting until they could reignite their attraction. The wife chose an open marriage, which enraged the speaker, especially when she confessed to being unfaithful. This revelation led him to file for divorce, as her actions violated the terms of the open marriage. The speaker mentioned that their daughter is now staying with friends while the family navigates this painful transition, highlighting the emotional toll of the situation. Commenters reacted with shock and sympathy, acknowledging the pain caused by the wife's betrayal. They discussed the complexity of the relationship and the implications for the couple's child, who now faces an uncertain family dynamic. The situation raises concerns about trust and the consequences of one partner's actions on the stability of the family. The conversation touches on a broader fear of commitment, with some expressing hesitation about marriage due to the risks involved. Meanwhile, another story emerges about a woman dealing with her relationship with her husband Tom and his close friend Julia. The woman describes Tom as an ideal partner, handsome, funny, and loving, but feels uneasy about Julia's behavior. Despite their strong bond, Julia has shown flirtatious tendencies towards Tom, such as touching him playfully and making insensitive comments that upset the woman. Attempts to engage with Julia have been met with dismissiveness, reinforcing the woman's feelings of exclusion and concern. The situation escalates as Julia's actions become more overtly humiliating, leading to significant emotional distress for the woman. This prompts the couple to seek marriage counseling, emphasizing how Julia's behavior has impacted their relationship. Though Tom initially defended Julia, he eventually reduced contact with her after recognizing the distress it caused his wife. This story delves into the complexities of jealousy, trust, and the necessity of open communication in a relationship. Overall, the three stories illustrate a wide range of emotions and romantic relationships, from deep love and resilience to betrayal and insecurity. They serve as reminders of the importance of communication, trust, and mutual respect, showing how external influences can complicate even the strongest bonds. In this case, the marriage counselor emphasized that the husband's repeated invalidation had put a heavy strain on the marriage and that addressing this dynamic would take time. The counselor highlighted that one important step in alleviating the burden would be for the wife to trust her instincts when she has concerns about her husband's interactions with Julia. After a particularly intense counseling session, the husband seemed to agree with much of the counselor's advice but continued to insist that Julia had no romantic interest in him. The wife, however, believed that Julia likely had some feelings for him, given her past behavior. When the husband dismissed her concerns as overthinking, the wife became understandably furious, feeling that he didn't fully grasp the seriousness of her feelings or the depth of her pain. In an attempt to convey the gravity of her distress, the wife resorted to a provocative act, flirting with a stranger at the gym, complimenting his physique and suggesting they work out together. When her husband noticed this, he became enraged and demanded an explanation. The wife responded by explaining that her actions were a reflection of the pain she had been feeling and that they mirrored how Julia's attention towards her husband affected her. The husband argued that his wife's actions were intentional flirting, while Julia likely didn't have any such intentions. The wife countered by asserting that the emotional impact of both situations was the same, regardless of intent. She expressed frustration that even months later, her husband continued to defend Julia's actions, which only intensified her feelings of betrayal and insecurity. Comments from others indicated that many believed the wife wasn't wrong for her actions. They argued that her husband had been willfully blind to Julia's behavior and had, in a way, encouraged it. By flirting with the stranger, the wife aimed to give her husband a taste of what she had been enduring. Some commenters speculated that the husband might have unresolved feelings for Julia, which made it difficult for him to recognize the damage being done to their marriage. While the wife's behavior wasn't ideal, many believed it was an attempt to communicate the pain she felt from her husband's neglect of her feelings. They warned that if she continued to tolerate his disregard, she might eventually resort to manipulation and games to get the understanding and respect she deserved in her relationship. Ultimately, the situation highlighted deeper issues in their marriage, including a lack of emotional support from the husband and the need for him to establish clear boundaries with Julia. In the end, it became clear that the husband's failure to defend his wife or set limits on his relationship with Julia had caused significant harm to their marriage. While Julia was no longer involved, the emotional wounds from her actions still lingered, and it was essential for the couple to address these issues constructively moving forward.